Hi, my name is Mark Henley, and this is Live at 5 for a Monday. In fact, it's the first Monday of the last week of the month of July. I don't know where you are or what the weather is where you are. I spoke with someone earlier today who is in Michigan, and they said that it's like 75 degrees up in Michigan. I wish it were 85 where I am. It's a good mid to upper 90s here in this part of Texas. So wherever you are, I hope that you are staying cool. I hope that you're having a good day. I hope that you had a good weekend, and I'm glad to be here with you today. Whether you catch me live at 5 or later, I really appreciate you being here, being a part of this sharing of information. This week, I'm probably going to do about three of these, two or three, at least Wednesday and then again on Friday. Um, we're going to be headed up to my little hometown of Memphis, Texas, on Wednesday. And I think some of you have heard, and I have shared this with you in the past before, but my uncle, by marriage, my Uncle Cletus, is 96 years young. I would say old, but he's 96 years young. And he is one of the survivors, the I think 7 or 8 remaining survivors of the USS Indianapolis disaster, the worst naval disaster in U.S. naval history. If you don't know anything, if you haven't learned anything about the USS Indianapolis, I encourage you to look at the USS Indianapolis, Google that. If you've seen the movie Jaws, and probably most, if not all of you have, you'll remember the old captain talking about a ship that went down, and he was supposedly one of those survivors, that went down in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and he talked about the tiger sharks picking off men in the water. This was the disaster that was my uncle was a part of. Brief history. The Indianapolis was on a secret mission. Nobody on the boat, with the exception of maybe one or two folks who were accompanying the packages that they had, were on a secret mission, and they delivered the final components to the bomb, to Tinian Island, to the bomb that was ultimately a few days later dropped on Hiroshima, that was signaled the beginning of the end of World War II. And because it was a secret mission, nobody knew that the Indianapolis was out there, that it was going anywhere, that it had dropped off anything. And so around midnight on July 30th, 1945, they were torpedoed. And as a result, there were almost 1,200 men on board the Indianapolis. And 900 went into the water, so about 300 of them died with the immediate impact of the torpedoes and then the sinking of the ship. And for a number of 4 to 5 days after that, the tiger sharks came and circled and picked a number of men off. Many died as a result of drinking ocean water, of exposure. And ultimately, about 316 of those 1,200 or so men survived. And my uncle is one of those who survived. He's the only remaining Texas survivor. And last year at their reunion, it was announced that they would be receiving, and I'm going to get this wrong, the Congressional Gold Medal for their bravery and heroism tied to that event. And this year marks the 75th anniversary of the sinking of the Indianapolis and the harrowing experiences that they had. And so Thursday morning, wherever they happen to be, because of COVID, they can't go to Indianapolis. So wherever the survivors happen to be around the country, there's going to be a joint virtual ceremony to give them their bronze casting of that gold medal. So it's going to be a unique kind of situation they're going to be go up for. And so I'll share with you on Wednesday before that, and then the Friday after again. But today I want to talk a little bit about a perspective on power. And I've mentioned a couple of things that I'm going to mention here. I've mentioned in other ways at various times. But I've mentioned to you a gentleman by the name of D. Hock. And D. Hock was the founder and former CEO of the Visa system. And he really has some pretty revolutionary ideas related to leadership. And I love to read words from others that make me think, particularly about leadership, because it challenges me. Words that are spoken or written that force one to think, I really believe possess the potential to influence and shape beliefs and actions, hopefully for the better, sometimes for the worse, but hopefully for the better. I know that throughout history, some pretty evil people have leveraged words to influence masses to destroy people and ideas and ideals and philosophies and property. Those words were spoken by people who used their craftiness to cause people to feel rather than think before acting. There is a difference. There really is a difference between acting purely from an emotional base, which we talked a little bit about last time, as opposed to acting from a rational base. And thus my reference to the D. Hock quote that I'm going to share with you momentarily causes me to think and hopefully act more meaningfully and purposefully in my own life. He wrote an article entitled On Chaotic Leadership. I'm going to pause and segue here a minute. Chaotic is a word that he came up with, he coined, that combines chaos and order. And he talks about the fact that chaos and order are so inextricably linked that there's a juxtaposition between chaos and order. And when people understand the connections between chaos and order, they really can make a huge difference in the way they lead people and organizations. But in this article, Mr. Hock says this: true power is never used. If you use power, you never really had it. I'm going to read that again. True power is never used. If you use power, you never really had it. Think about that one for a moment. One never has to wield true power. One never has to use true power to get things done. Many leaders today, I think, feed on the need to be in charge and therefore use the power of position to impose their will on their subordinates. Even when they dress their authority in frilly words, they still carry a negatively forceful impact on everybody who hears them. Contrary to the intent of this ill-conceived use of power to get things done, the opposite is often the case. People who find themselves targets of power-hungry individuals resist. It's a natural reaction. And I think I've already used it at some point earlier, the Lakota proverb that says, force, no matter how concealed, begets resistance. The Lakota were a smart folk. So there you have it. Power, to be effective, must never be used. Contrary to popular opinion, the use of power actually disables one's ability to lead, inspire, and accomplish. Power is best lived from a place of self-knowledge, temperance, and purposeful resolve. The most effective leaders avoid using the power of position to force subordinates to bend to their demands. The most effective leaders avoid using the power of enticement to carry out their plans. The most effective leaders avoid using the power of intimidation to gain loyalty. When leaders resort to the use of power, they verify the fact that they never really possessed it to begin with. So here's the challenge, and you know I like challenges. Here's the challenge. Take stock of the power you possess in your own life as an individual. Does it lie in your knowledge base? Does it reside in your intellect? Does it find expression in your wisdom? Does it flow through quality relationships you create and nurture? Does it seep from the pores of your character as you influence the lives of those whom you encounter? You see, true power is never really used, at least effectively. True power animates the best in you to give the best of you for the best of those around you. Think about it, won't you? I hope you'll join me Wednesday for another Live at 5. Tonight, I wish you peace. Take care.